Welcome everybody, and especially you, Mr. Getson. We look forward to this as being hopefully a highly productive time together, and to help everybody be educated, to be able to ascertain the direction of not just our own futures, but the future of our dear province. And with that, I'm going to, everybody is quite organized in terms of having their message prepared. So I'm just going to bring that up in front of me.
Okay, and I'm going to try to turn up the volume here a bit. If I ask questions, a couple of them, just to make sure there's clarity. The other thing, if you wouldn't mind, Carla, since you invited us or invited me to the meeting, can you tell me who your group is, what your backgrounds are? It's always kind of nice to know who your person's talking to.
You betcha. So you're right on target. So that's excellent. So I'm Carla Wilchuck. I am the facilitator for the excellent group of constituents you have here before you. I have over 30 years background in the health sciences area, 20 years with an international health sciences company in 27 countries. I have served as an agricultural consultant for a brilliant economist who served the Economic Council of Canada and served on Health Council advising to Capital Health, among many other roles over the years. Currently, I have a wellness retreat sanctuary on 25 acres and keeps me very busy. Shane, please first accept our deepest appreciation for your time and attention to the important matters to be brought before you today. The overriding sentiment is that we feel for you in the position you are in during these strange times, and we sincerely wish to be of service and assistance in the direction and the governance of our beloved province. We also have faith that you will hear and see the constituent representatives here as valued contributors. The representatives have a series of questions and are tasked with obtaining full disclosures, which they trust you will be instrumental in illuminating and assisting with. The representatives also have the serious purpose in the assessment and, if possible, the assisting of you, Shane Getson, to responsibly, transparently, and with utmost accountability represent your constituents to help shape the legislation of Alberta according to their collective wishes. The representatives are indeed committed to help if there is honest willingness, or conversely, expose and mitigate removal replacement if there is not willingness to listen to and represent constituents fairly. We are acutely aware of and can certainly provide examples of lawsuits, tribunals, and investigations of the most serious nature happening in numerous jurisdictions at every level of government as we speak, and we certainly hope that we can be helpful in warding those off here. So that with that framework, let's begin. As we want to be effective with our time together, we will be limiting time for answers and follow up to ensure information requests are honored. My question is, have you reviewed the links and materials provided in the email sent to you? And I would respectfully ask that you use 2 minutes or less to express your thoughts on those.
Sure, and yes, I have. And the second part is, which other group are you affiliated with, Carla? So again, I've got a bunch of information. This is a loosely formed association of constituents. I also have hold your MLA accountable, and there's little to no information on who your organization is.
Well, the holding MLAs accountable is the group that throughout the province is helping constituents to assemble themselves and to be able to start communicating with their respective MLAs.
So it's a loosely associated group of people in common interest on Facebook, or is there an organization or another affiliation that you're associated with?
Let's go with your loosely.
Okay, and is there any other mandates or any other political parties or any other connections that you have?
I do not.
Okay, and that goes for the group here, folks. So again, as the MLA for the area, what I like to try to do is ascertain who I'm dealing with to start off with. And I think that's a respectful conversation and dialogue to begin with. So at least we know where we're at. For those of you who don't know me, my background is not as illustrious as Carla's. I am not from the medical community, so I will not be speaking on behalf of a doctor or from those standpoints. I am an elected representative. I'm a civil engineering technologist, and I've worked in the construction industry. So the lens and the experience and the background I bring to the table will be a bit different. I will not entertain a debate back and forth on which medical professional's opinion is valid or not. That is for debate in the public record, but I am here willing to listen to your concerns and address them truthfully and honestly, because that's the only way I know how. There's going to be some things that I can tell you, other things that I can't. There's things like caucus confidence. There's things like personal opinion that I'm not quite at the luxury while I'm wearing the MLA hat to talk to you about. And there's going to be things that we agree with and potentially disagree with. So if you're good with that, it's comfortable. The other thing is if this becomes non-productive and if it becomes non-professional, then I will exit stage left. So if everyone's comfortable with that, then I'm more than happy to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour with you.
Did you want to address my question?
Which was, sorry?
You reviewed the links and the materials that were provided to you in the email. And did you want to take the opportunity of 2 minutes or less to express your thoughts on those materials and what you thought of them, learned anything?
No, we'll just go right to questions if that works.
So okay, I guess my question is, you don't have an opinion, or those are not relevant to you?
If you're trying to fish something out, Carla, if you're trying to fish something out, Carla, I've seen the links that you sent me and I've reviewed some of the information. Again, I'm not going to give you opinions on things either as the MLA or as a person based on the information you sent me. I'm not a movie critic. I'm not a medical person. I saw the information you gave and I'm willing to take and entertain any questions you have.
Okay, with that, we will proceed. We note, okay, well, this one should be an easy one, and then we'll go to someone else. Looks like you're pretty passionate about some hobbies like golf courses and flying, and you post about those kinds of things. So in 2 minutes or less, how do these projects shape Alberta's overall well-being, and how would you rate their importance in your role as MLA?
So I'm a terrible golfer. I only do it for business. In prior life, that was kind of how we worked on the best golfing time that we ever had. It was on a project down in McKeesus where a bunch of us hackers would go out there after work. Instead of some of my colleagues at the job site would head to the pub, we would head to Palm Springs is what it was called. It was the local golf course at the military base. And that's where I kind of developed a bit of an affinity for it. Unfortunately, with my career over the last number of years and wife and kids, I am the worst person to be representative of the golfing community. And in this role, I fortunately, when we didn't have restrictions in place, I had an opportunity to go out a couple of times and see a bunch of the ranges that we have and the different golf courses. And quite frankly, in our area, I was surprised of how many top grade golf courses and operators that we have out there. So as far as an economic engine in our area, they're definitely something that I would support, as all businesses and small businesses in the area. And I would encourage everybody to get out if you can. Don't let golf intimidate you. It's a fun sport. Go out there and try it and support local business. In regards to aviation, absolutely. Carla, to your point, I was that young, small farm kid looking up to the sky one day and had mentioned to my grandma, how much I'd want to fly. And we had a bit of a cut dialogue. And I think I recently posted something on that. And it was my wife actually that encouraged me when we got married to stop talking about going flying. And she bought me some books to read and then subsequently signed me up for a course. So while I was on a project up in Cold Lake, I was trying to head out to Lac Ste and take flying lessons at the same time. And part of the rationale behind that was to be able to get home more often. So for anyone who's worked away from home when you have a 7-hour drive, I could rationalize it to try to get home a little bit more often. So scrimped and saved my pennies and bought an airplane, and that's my love of aviation. And recently in the Economic Council, the economies or our pillars of our economy, aerospace and aviation, has been underserved. And it's one of the items that we want to try to really promote, because the skill sets that we have from the energy sector and the oil and gas sector, from some studies, about 80% are transferable skill sets over to aerospace and aviation. So we'll be working on some definite strategies where we want to be a definite leader in those areas. And
Can you
coincidentally,
speak?
a little bit of interest in that is the
You're
B-2
over
Spirit
your,
bomber is a
wait,
major plane that
Mr.
is under
Getson.
construction. And it turns out we've got a local company out in Fort Saskatchewan that actually produces parts for it. So we've got a long legacy of aerospace and aviation.
All right, Mr. Getson, just with respect to time, you know, if you could answer, as small business is dropping like flies, if you will, can you answer the part of the question? I would consider that being able to aviate would be a luxury compared to feeding your family or not because your business has been lost. So could you just speak quickly to that, and then we'll move on?
Aviation is not a luxury. I think you can see from the economy of WestJet, and I can see the airports around the area, how you reach the north. It's not a luxury to have airplanes. I'm not sure what the premise of the question is, Carla, but I reject the premise if you're suggesting that aviation is just a luxury that we shouldn't have and shouldn't support in the province.
And we'll move on from that. Thank you for your answer.